Good morning. Recognizing a quorum, I am calling this meeting of the Cannabis Control Commission to order at 10:01 a.m. on April 9th, 2020. This meeting is being recorded. I have a few introductory comments before we get into the agenda. First, I just wanted to repeat my gratitude for those on the front lines helping to keep us all safe. I wanted to give my best wishes for the health and safety of everybody in the industry, the employees, patients, customers, our staff, everyone following this meeting live, which I understand is at least 81 people, and obviously all citizens of the state. My best wishes for everybody's health and safety. I want to thank Sean and the staff for all the work they've done. As you'll see shortly, we have a very long agenda of licenses to process, and I think that's a testimonial to how hard and how effectively we've been able to work remotely. So my thanks to the entire staff for that and for their responsiveness to this crisis, and how quickly and agilely I think we've moved to try to help as many people as we can through these difficult times. So my gratitude to Sean and the staff for that. A specific call out to our Chief Technology Officer, Dave McKenna, for the technology that allows us to work remotely and conduct public meetings remotely, and to our Chief of Staff and Executive Director of Meetings, Erica Chiavelli. I really appreciate your organizing this and conducting the meeting. You have a future as a game show host, as we've already decided. If you ever get tired of public service, but thank you, Erica, and thank you, Dave. We have a lot to cover today. My guess is this is going to take about 2 hours. I am sure that we're going to need a break at some point, particularly for Kyle and for myself, but I think 2 hours plus or minus should do it. Unlike last Friday's meeting, where we were able to conduct the meeting without a large number of motions and votes, because we have so many licenses to discuss and vote on today, that's not going to be possible. I'll have some comments when we get into the meat of the agenda about how we're going to try to conduct those discussions to be as efficient as possible in this medium. I first wanted to turn it over to our executive director. Oh, before I do that, there's just one announcement that I've been asked to make, which is that the social equity program has an application window for the second tranche that is opened until May 1st. So anybody that's interested in being part of the second wave of the social equity program, please go to our website, click on the social equity button, and please get your application into us by May 1st. Thank you. With respect to the executive director's report, two things. One is I've asked Sean not to go through the normal set of slides that he does that gives us an update on applications and licenses and statistics. All of those slides are available on our website, so anybody that's interested can go look at them. But just given the amount of material we have to cover in this meeting, I've asked him not to go through his normal presentation. I have asked him, however, to talk about the amended cease and desist order, which the commission released on, I think, Tuesday evening, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, and particularly the public is aware of that cease and desist, amended cease and desist order and its implications. Sean, if I could turn it over to you, I'd appreciate you going through that cease and desist order. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as you indicated, just this week, on the 7th, so Tuesday afternoon, we issued an amended cease and desist order, which really stems from the extension of the governor's extended essential services order, which continued to find that medical marijuana treatment centers could remain open and serving patients, but that adult use retail stores remained closed to serve customers and consumers. So to allow for the continued supply chain for medical marijuana treatment centers to continue serving patients, and also identifying that the continued service of patients to allow for continued supply to remain sufficient, We have amended that cease and desist order to allow for service from adult use, standalone adult use with certain conditions. So I'll go through some of those conditions, really stemming from the cease and desist order as it reads, building off of what the governor's essential services order includes. So it did find that workers that are necessary for cultivation and manufacturing finished marijuana and marijuana products are necessary to continue maintaining manufacturing functions as it pertains to that medical marijuana supply chain, that those workers are considered essential. That we have seen, as I mentioned on Friday, and it continues now, an increased patient demand based on new patient applications. As I mentioned on Friday, between March 23rd and April 1st, we did see a significant increase in patient registrations. That is new patient registrations, not just renewals. Over a 10-day period, we saw a 158% increase. That does suggest to us that there's going to be an increased need for patient supply. So as a result, we did find that it would be a significant increase, potential significant increase in the need for patient supply and a potential risk of that patient supply not being met. So in order to accommodate that, medical marijuana treatment centers, if they attest that they might need supply, they could submit an attestation and use adult use product manufacturers, retailers, or cultivators and document an emergency and therefore use adult use cultivators, retailers, or product manufacturers and therefore use those suppliers. And this is, again, during the COVID-19 pandemic, use those suppliers to secure finished adult use marijuana products upon that attestation to supply their co-located or medical marijuana treatment centers if they deem it necessary to avoid disruptions to their medical marijuana supply chain. This, again, is an example, I think, of trying to supply the medical marijuana supply chain, but also serving, hopefully, as a relief to those adult use businesses that during this time frame, we're looking at a potential through May 4th of not having an outlet, so to speak, of where to send or how to use their existing inventory. But really the extension of that essential services order did serve as an opportunity. Really the creativity here from the staff and also stemming from Friday's conversation with Commissioner Doyle's assistance does stem from the, again, that essential services order the governor extended, is looking at the uptick in the uptick in patient supply, the uptick in patient registrations. So I'm just going through my notes here. The uptick in patient registrations at that 158% increase.
You okay, Sean?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, so that uptick in patient registrations over the course of that 10-day period, and the additional attestation will be supplied by the medical marijuana treatment center requesting the patient supply, demonstrating the need of increased demand of that patient supply, and requesting the that documented emergency as it is, as the documented emergency as it pertains to needing that supply in the adult use facility that could meet that demand. So it really pertains to the marijuana treatment center demonstrating that they have the ability, that they need the supply, they need the marijuana treatment center documenting that they need the inventory in the adult use facility, indicating that they have the ability to fulfill that need. And so again, as it actually at this point, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to take any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it. I think that what is important here to me is that we discussed this on Friday. I know the commission and the staff had already been working on this previously, but we discussed this at our public meeting on Friday, and with help from the staff and particularly Commissioner Doyle, although I know the other commissioners were involved as well. I think we responded to something that has the benefit of both ensuring supply for patients, which is incredibly important, as well as having benefit to those on the adult use side that are shut down based upon the governor's executive order. So my gratitude to the staff and to Sean for his leadership. Is there anything that any of the other commissioners would wish to say, or any questions you have before we move on? Okay, thank you. If Erica, you would mind putting up the agenda slide? Thank you. So we have a pretty packed agenda, as I mentioned, starting with we have 2 sets of minutes for approval. We have, let's see if my count is correct, 3 changes of ownership, 1 change of location, 25 renewals, 16 final, and unbelievably 41 provisional licenses to discuss and approve. So first of all, I hope that's proof of the point I made earlier, that while we're working remotely, we're working incredibly efficiently, and we are trying as hard as we can under the restrictions that we're all under, and under our focus on public health and safety. We are working hard and working efficiently, and my continued gratitude to the staff for that.
Yes.
This is going to be, as I said, a different kind of meeting than Friday, since we have so many motions and votes to have to take. So I just wanted to make a couple of points about how we're going to try to conduct ourselves, and then we'll get into it. One is that I will ask specific commissioners to make motions. Yes. Can I ask for the first motion? Can I ask that we take a 10-minute recess? I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman? Aye. We will take a break. It is now 10:15. Let's take a break till 10:30. So we are on recess until 10:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I can hear you. You call me, can you call me, I'll call you on my other line, okay? Just give me Erica, are we ready to go?
All set.
Thank you, Erica. I just wanted to, we are back in session. I want to apologize. That was just a little technical snafu that our staff very quickly fixed. I'm not sure what the problem was, but we are back online. My apologies for the delay and my appreciation for everybody's patience. Thank you. I think that we're set to get into the bulk of the agenda, starting with minutes for approval, and then we'll go through the recommendations on licenses. Let's start with minutes. We have two sets of minutes to approve. The first is from February 6th. If there are any questions or requests for modifications, please state them now. Anything from any of the commissioners?
No.
Okay.
Not here.
Thank you. Then can I ask please for a motion and Commissioner Title? Would you make the a motion, please, to approve the minutes from February 6th?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, will you make a second, please? You're on mute.
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that the motion was made by Commissioner Title, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Please, your individual votes. Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the minutes from February 6th. Thank you. The next set of minutes is from our meeting of March 5th. Are there any questions or requests for modification?
Nope.
Thank you. Then can I ask Commissioner Flanagan, Commissioner McBride, will you make the motion, please, to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I ask Commissioner Flanagan to make a motion second?
Second.
Let the record show that Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the minutes from March 5th. Thank you very much, and my thanks to Christopher for his work on getting those ready. The next agenda item are 3 changes of ownership. Can we change the slide, please, Erica? Thank you. And Mr. Potvin, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The first change of ownership is Cannabis Provisions Incorporated. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The licensee here is Cannabis Provisions Incorporated. They are seeking a change of ownership and control over 2 licenses. The entity that will be gaining ownership and control is named Better Provisions LLC. The information is displayed on the executive summary for your review. Therefore, commission staff recommend review and decision on this request for change of ownership and control, and if approved, request that their approval be subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. Are there any questions for Mr. Potvin? Thank you. Then could I have a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation on change of ownership for Cannabis Provisions Incorporated? Commissioner Doyle, would you make the motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Title, would you second the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation on change of ownership for Cannabis Provisions Incorporated. Thank you. Next, Cultivate Holdings LLC, Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The licensee here is Cultivate Holdings LLC. They're seeking a change of ownership and control over 6 adult use licenses and 1 medical marijuana treatment center license. The entities that will be gaining ownership and control are the following: Cultivate Licensing LLC, Cultivate Lesser Inc., and Cultivate Cultivation LLC. The executive summary contains all the information for your consideration. Therefore, commission staff do recommend review and decision on this request of change of ownership and control, and if approved, request that your approval be subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there any questions or comments or ask for a motion? Thank you. Then could I ask Commissioner McBride, please, to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation on change of ownership for Cultivate Holdings LLC?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I ask Commissioner Flanagan to second that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation on change of ownership for Cultivate Holdings LLC. Thank you very much. Next is Theory Farms LLC. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The licensee here is Theory Farms LLC. They're seeking a change of ownership and control over their one adult use license. There are 3 individuals gaining ownership and control that are listed on the executive summary for your review. Therefore, commission staff do recommend review and decision on this request of change of ownership and control, and if approved, request that your approval be subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. Are there any questions for Mr. Potvin? Thank you. Then could I ask please for a motion from Commissioner Title to approve the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, can I ask for a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Title made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation on change of ownership for Theory Farms LLC. Thank you very much. Mr. Potvin, that's it for changes of ownership. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can we now get the next slide, please, Erica? Thank you. We have one recommendation for changes, one staff recommendation for a change of location. Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated, MRN 282049 Retail. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, the licensee here is Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated. They have an adult use retail license that's currently located at 264 Newburyport Turnpike, located in Raleigh. They're seeking to change their location of this license to 142 Southbridge Street in Worcester, Mass. Additional information is contained within the executive summary for your review. With that being said, commission staff do recommend review and decision on this request of change of location, and if approved, request that your approval be subject to the conditions before you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Potvin. Are there any questions for Mr. Potvin? Okay, thank you. Then can I ask Commissioner Flanagan, would you make a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation on change of location for Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner McBride, could you second that motion, please?
Second.
Let the record show that Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation for change of location for Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated, MRN 282049. Thank you, Mr. Potvin. That's it for changes of location?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. If we get the next slide, please. Thank you. Now it's going to get more complicated. We have, for the past several meetings, tried to treat renewals as a roster, but obviously we allow any commissioner to remove from the roster. For renewals, we're going to have to break it into 3 pieces, and I'll be very explicit. We have 3 adult use renewals that we're going to treat separately. All the remainder of the adult use renewals we'll treat as a second tranche, and then we'll do all of the medical renewals as a third tranche. So I want to start with A, B, and G. So Theory Wellness Incorporated, MCR 139866. Greener Leaf Incorporated, MRR 205568, and G, Atlantic Medicinal Partners, MRR 205569. We're going to treat those separately. There are 2 conditions that have been requested by Commissioner Flanagan, which I would like to read, and then, of course, I will allow for any other comments, questions, or requests for additional conditions. But let me read the two conditions that Commissioner Flanagan has requested for these, and frankly, all the other adult use renewals as well. But for these three, A, B, and G, the two conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan. This first, Commissioner Flanagan moves that within 90 days of the removal of the state of emergency declaration, all adult use licensees must notify the Cannabis Control Commission of updated actions taken on the plans to positively impact disproportionately harmed people. The second condition that Commissioner Flanagan would like is Commissioner Flanagan moves that within 90 days of the removal of the state of emergency declaration, all adult use licensees must notify the Cannabis Control Commission of updated actions taken on the diversity plans. So for A, B, and G, Mr. Potvin, first of all, do you have any comments on those three renewal applications?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any other conditions that would be requested for those three? Again, A, B, and G. Thank you. Then could I ask, please, for a motion from Commissioner Doyle to approve the staff recommendations for renewals on Theory Wellness, MCR 139866, Greener Leaf Incorporated, MRR 205568, and Atlantic Medicinal Partners Incorporated, MRR 205569, subject to the two conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan.
So moved.
Thank you. Could I get a second, please, from Commissioner Title?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion and was seconded by Commissioner Title. Excuse me. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the Commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to renew the licenses for Theory Wellness Incorporated, MCR 139866, Greener Leaf Incorporated, MRR 205568, Atlantic Medicinal Partners Incorporated, MRR 205569, by unanimous vote, subject to the two conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Thank you. The next roster that we're going to go through for renewals is C, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated, MCR 139865, D, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated, MPR 243511, E, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts, MRR 205564, F, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts, MRR 205570, H, Nova Farms LLC, MCR 139868. Let me see if I got started. I, Beacon Compassion Incorporated, MCR 139871. J, Beacon Compassion Incorporated, MPR 243516. K, Silver Therapeutics Incorporated, MRR 205573. For those, I would like to ask if there are any conditions in addition to the one that Commissioner, or the two that Commissioner Flanagan has requested, and then additionally, if you'll give me a second, I have language from Commissioner Doyle for those licenses that her proposed condition is to require the licensee to provide an update to the timeline for commencing operations for the MTCs co-located with the licenses being considered as part of this renewal roster. So unless there's a request for additional conditions, I would like to ask for a motion to approve C, D, E, F, H, I, J, and K, subject to two conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan and the additional condition requested by Commissioner Doyle. Before I ask for a motion, are there any other conditions requested on these renewals? Okay, then could I ask Commissioner McBride, please, to make such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Could I ask Commissioner Flanagan to second?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation on renewals for the following licenses, subject to the conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan and Commissioner Doyle. We are talking about Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts Incorporated, MCR 139865, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts, MPR 243511, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts, MRR 205564, Nature's Remedy of Massachusetts 205570, Nova Farms LLC, MCR 139868, Beacon Compassion, MCR 139871, Beacon Compassion, MPR 243516, Silver Therapeutics, MRR 205573. Thank you very much. The next roster will be all, let me just give me 1 second here. Yeah, the next roster will be the remainder of the renewals. So starting with L Berkshire Roots Incorporated, RMD 505, Green Meadows Farms LLC. Could we go to the next slide, please? Thank you, Erica. Just Healthy LLC, Holistic Industries, Theory Wellness Incorporated, RMD 305, Alternative Compassion Services Incorporated, RMD 585, Patriot Care Corp, RMD 165, Beacon Compassion Center Incorporated, Curaleaf, Massachusetts, RMD 765, Green Gold Group Incorporated, RMD 786, Mass Alternative Care Incorporated, and I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right, Phytotherapy Incorporated, Emerald Grove Incorporated, and Central Avenue Compassionate Care Incorporated, RMD 145. Are there any conditions that were requested on these that group of applicants? My understanding, at least from my reading of emails, is no, but if I'm missing something, are there conditions requested here? Mr. Potvin, do you have anything to add? I'm sorry, before we ask for commissioners.
No, sir.
Thank you. Are there, if there are no additional conditions requested, please, I'd like to ask Commissioner Doyle to make a motion to approve that roster, the staff recommendation on that roster.
So moved.
Thank you. Could I ask Commissioner Title to second? Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, sorry, Commissioner Title. Before we make the motion, you have a condition you would like to add?
Yes, please.
And my apologies, Commissioner Title, if I missed it.
That's okay. That's okay. Condition for this group of licensees to submit their program to provide reduced cost or free marijuana to patients with documented verified financial hardship as required under 501.0501H to the commission within 60 days, and if applicable to include a progress update on implementing the plan, and if applicable, the website where the plan is posted.
My apologies. I had that in my notes and I just missed that. So my apologies, Commissioner Title.
No problem.
Any comments on this roster or the condition requested by Commissioner Title? So you're essentially asking them to do what they're already required to do, what you're requesting, other than the update. Is that correct?
They're required to do all of it, but I just wanted it to be submitted.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments before I ask for a motion? Okay, thank you. Then Commissioner Doyle, would you make a motion to approve the staff recommendation on the roster that we're discussing, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title?
So moved.
Commissioner Flanagan, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman? Aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved staff recommendation for renewals on the following list of licensees, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Erica, could you go back to the previous slide just for a second? Thank you. So the group that was included in that motion, Berkshire Roots Incorporated, RMD 505, Green Meadow Farms LLC. Next slide, please. Just Healthy LLC. Thank you. Holistic Industries, Theory Wellness Incorporated, RMD 305, Alternative Compassion Services Incorporated, RMD 585, Patriot Care Corp, RMD 165, Beacon Compassion Center Incorporated, Curaleaf Massachusetts Incorporated, RMD 765, Green Gold Group Incorporated, RMD 786, Mass Alternative Care Incorporated, Phytotherapy Incorporated, Emerald Grove Incorporated, Central Avenue Compassionate Care Incorporated, RMD 145. Thank you very much. Mr. Potvin, is that it for renewals?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, let's move into final licenses. There are 16 final licenses. We will treat them as two groups. The first group will be if we can get the next slide up, please, Erica. Oh, you got it. I'm sorry. I still need the next slide, though. Go one more. The first one that we will speak to is Temescal Wellness of Massachusetts, MR 282033. Commissioner Title has asked to recuse herself from this, so we'll treat this one separately and then do the remainder, Mr. Potvin. If we could just focus first on Temescal Wellness of Massachusetts, LLC.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, I threw you a curveball there. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm just finding it right now, and I will be ready to present it.
Just wanted to see if that gigantic cup of coffee you were drinking earlier this morning is having any effect or not.
It's not really. Here we go. So Temescal Wellness of Massachusetts LLC is a licensee. The location is 665 Cochituate Road, Suite 1B in Framingham, Mass. The final license being sought is a retail license. There's additional information in the executive summary for your review and consideration. And with that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of a final license with the conditions before you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from Mr. Potvin? Okay, then can I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation for a final license to Temescal Wellness of Massachusetts LLC, MR 282033. Commissioner McBride, would you make that motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman? Aye. Commissioner Title? You're
Recused.
Thank you. Let the record show that the Commission approved the staff recommendation to issue a final license to Temescal Wellness of Massachusetts LLC, MR 282033, with a vote of 4 in favor. Commissioners Doyle, Flanagan, McBride, and Hoffman, with Commissioner Title recused. Thank you. And you read my mind. You went back to the previous slide, Erica. Thank you so much. I would like to consider the remainder of the staff recommendations for final licenses as one roster before I ask for a motion, Mr. Potvin. So this is everything on the roster, and I'll detail this when I ask for the motion, but everything on the roster other than N Temescal Wellness.
There's no additional information other than what's already encapsulated within the executive summaries.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. Are there any questions? Commissioner Title.
Just a quick comment about HCAs. I've noted in previous meetings going back to October 2018 that I was collecting and reviewing HCAs on my own and abstaining when I thought they went beyond the law. I am discontinuing that practice due to time constraints. But I do want to thank the Commission for requesting that authority and the legislators and other stakeholders that have pushed for that change.
Thank you, Commissioner Title. Any other comments or questions before I ask for a motion? Okay, thank you. Then I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the staff recommendation for the following final licenses. Apotheca Incorporated MC 281276, Apotheca Incorporated MP 281455, Boston Bud Factory Incorporated MR 281525, Canna Provisions Incorporated MR 281778, Cannabis Connection Incorporated MR 281362, Cultivate Holdings LLC MR 282522, Eagle Eyes Transport MT 281320, Haverhill STEM LLC MR 281327, HVV Massachusetts Incorporated MC 282121, excuse me, HVV Massachusetts Incorporated MP 281657, HVV Massachusetts MR 282578, Old Planters of Cape Ann Incorporated MR 282588, TDMA LLC MR 282376. Erica, next slide, please. The Heirloom Collective MC 281438, the Heirloom Collective Incorporated MP 281407. Thank you. Could I ask Commissioner Title, please, to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation on the aforementioned licenses?
So moved.
Commissioner Flanagan, would you second that motion, please?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner McBride, would you second that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Title made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation for approval of final licenses to the aforementioned applicants. Thank you very much. Is that it, Mr. Potvin, for final licenses?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. How's everybody doing? I thought that what we would do is start the provisional license process and then probably take a break. This is going to take a while, just given the number and the number of conditions. So is that okay? You doing okay, Mr. Potvin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. What the only change we're going to make here, we'll go through these individually, but we will have for multiple applications under one licensee, we'll just have one vote on them, even if they are not co-located. I'll be very explicit about what we're voting on each time, but we'll do that, and then again I'll read out conditions that have been requested, but also allow individual commissioners to add additional conditions or ask additional questions if necessary. So with that, let's get started. There are 3 applications for ARL Healthcare Incorporated, MCN 281622, which is Tier 4 indoor cultivation, MPN 281681 product manufacturer, MRN 282382 retail. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first 2, the MCN 281622 and MPN 281681 are co-located. The proposed location is 167 John Vertente Boulevard, New Bedford, Mass. And they are seeking a Tier 4 cultivation and product manufacturing license on these. The other license that you mentioned, the retail license, which is MRN 282382, the proposed location for this retail establishment would be 29 Harding Street, located in Middleborough, Mass. Therefore, commission staff do recommend review of the executive summaries for these applicants and do recommend the issuance of 3 provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions requested on these 3 applications, but are there any or comments or questions? Mr. Tyler, do you have a comment? Or is that from the previous? That's the previous one. Sorry. Then could I ask, please, for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to ARL Incorporated or ARL Healthcare Incorporated, MCN 281622 cultivation, MPN 281681 product manufacturer, MRN 282382 retail. Commissioner Tuttle, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Flanagan, would you second that motion?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner McBride? Would you
Second.
that motion? Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Tuttle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner I'm sorry, Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Tuttle,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to ARL Healthcare Incorporated, MCN 281622, MPN 281681, MRN 282382. Thank you. Mr. Poppin, the next three are also under one applicant, Berkeley Botanicals LLC, MCN 282081, Tier 2 Indoor Cultivation, MPN 281642, Product Manufacturer, MRN 281458, Retailer. I believe all three of these are co-located, Mr. Poppin, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The applicant here is Berkeley Botanicals LLC. The proposed location is 44 County Street, located in Berkeley, Mass. As you stated, the three licenses being sought are a Tier 2 cultivation license, indoor cultivation license, product manufacturing license, and retail license. Additional information is contained within the executive summary for your review. Therefore, commission staff do recommend the issuance of 3 provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Poppin. I am not aware of any conditions requested on these 3 applications. Are there any that I'm missing, or any comments or questions? Yeah. Thank you. Then, Commissioner Doyle, would you please make a motion to approve the staff recommendation for these 3 licenses?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Tuttle, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Tuttle. Can I have votes, please? Commissioner Doyle?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Tuttle?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to Berkeley Botanicals LLC, MCN 282081, MPN 281642, MRN 281458. Thank you. The next license is Be Well Holdings Incorporated, MRN 282825. And let me make a note that this is an expedited application based upon qualifications as a disadvantaged business enterprise. Mr. Poxon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, the applicant here is Be Well Holdings Incorporated. The proposed location is 220 Commercial Street, Unit 2, located in Provincetown, Mass. They are seeking a retail license. Again, additional information is contained within the executive summary for your review. Therefore, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. Commissioner Doyle, I believe you have a comment here.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please go ahead.
I just wanted to note the name of the applicant is actually very similar to a name of an existing licensee, and I just wanted to have Mr. Potvin speak to whether they were affiliated and note that they are not in the same geographic area, if Mr. Potvin could do that.
Yes, Commissioner Doyle. It is very similar to another licensee, which is Be Well, but BE Well Holdings. They are not affiliated from the information that's been submitted to the commission. There's no individuals or entities that appear to be affiliated with both the before mentioned Be Well and this current applicant right now. Additionally, this location is Provincetown, Mass, and the other application for this applicant is also located in Provincetown, Mass, which is distinctly geographically different than Be Well Holdings, which is the MTC and also the current applicant on the adult use side with BE Well.
Any other comments or questions or requested conditions? Then could I ask, please, Commissioner McBride to make the motion to approve the staff recommendation on Be Well Holdings?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Can I have the votes, please? Commissioner Doyle,
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Be Well Holdings Incorporated, MRN 282825. Thank you very much. The next 4 licenses are all under the same ownership. CNA Stores Incorporated, MCN 282190, Tier 4 Indoor Cultivation, MPN 281. You got your cursor right over the number there, Erica. You move your cursor? Okay. I'm going to assume it's MPN 281691, product manufacturer, MRN 281744, retail, MRN 282576, retail. Mr. Potvin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant, as you stated, is CNA Stores Incorporated. Their first 2 applications, which are the cultivation and product manufacturing applications, the proposed location for them is 57 South Hunt Road in Amesbury, Mass. Their third application, which is a retail application, the proposed location for that is 558 River Street, located in Haverhill, Mass. And then the second retail application that's before you for this applicant is located, the proposed location would be 77 Macy Street, located in Amesbury, Mass. With that said, there's information contained within 3 executive summaries for these 4 applications, and the commission staff do recommend the issuance of 4 provisional licenses subject to the conditions contained within those executive summaries.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. These are all 4 of these applications were expedited based upon qualification as a disadvantaged business enterprise. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Flanagan has requested the following condition: provide more details on all 4 of these licenses. Provide more details relative to the social media campaign by stating specific topics that will be highlighted and who the intended audience is. Are there any other questions or comments or requests for additional conditions? And Commissioner Title, could I ask you please to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation subject to Commissioner Flanagan's recommended condition?
So moved.
Commissioner McBride, can I ask you to second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue the following provisional licenses subject to the additional condition requested by Commissioner Flanagan. CNA Stores Incorporated, MCN 282190, cultivation, MPN 281691, product manufacturer, MRN 281744, retail, MRN 282576, retail. Thank you very much.
There's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. And with that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or requests for conditions on this application? Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation from Commissioner Doyle?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Title, would you second that, please?
Second.
Let the record show Commissioner Doyle made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Comcan Incorporated, MRN 283001. Thank you. Next up is 420 Industries Company, MBN 281535, which is micro business and is therefore expedited based upon its license category. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is 420 Industries. The license being sought is a micro business license that would perform cultivation and product manufacturing operations. There's additional information contained within this executive summary. One thing to point out is that they did receive expedited review, not only because of the license type, but also because of social equity participant.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That was in my notes. I missed that. Thank you, Mr. Potvin.
You're welcome. As stated, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review. Therefore, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much. Before I ask for additional conditions, let me, I've had requests for 2 conditions, one from Commissioner Flanagan, one from Commissioner Title. Commissioner Flanagan requests that we place the following condition on this application: provide information on how donations to MRCC and C3RN will specifically impact the mentioned disproportionately impacted area. The letters do not provide such information. So that's Commissioner Flanagan. Let me just change screens to get to Commissioner Title. And on 420 Industries, the condition that she has requested is to revise diversity plan to define people from diverse backgrounds and adjust 10% goal to be objectively reasonable. So I have those 2 conditions. Before I ask for a motion, are there other conditions or requests for conditions or questions from Mr. Potvin? Commissioner Bride, you said you might have a comment on this?
I'm going to withhold comment at this point, Mr. Chairman. I think Commissioner Flanagan's condition gets at what my concerns were.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or requests for conditions? Okay, thank you. Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to 420 Industries subject to the conditions requested by Commissioners Title and Flanagan. Commissioner McBride, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, would you second the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to 420 Industries Company. And can you, you move too fast for me, Erica. Come back, please. Thank you. MBN 281535, subject to the additional conditions requested by Commissioners Title and Flanagan. Thank you. You can now change slides, Erica. Okay, next up is Fuego Farms, 2 applications, MCN 282234, Tier 2 Indoor Cultivation, MPN 281716, Product Manufacturer. These are expedited applications based upon the applicant being a social equity program member. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Fuego Farms Incorporated. The proposed location is 370 Wareham Street, located in Middleborough, Mass. 2 licenses being sought are a Tier 2 Indoor Cultivation license and a Product Manufacturing license. And as you said, Mr. Chairman, this did receive expedited review based on the fact that there's a social equity participant involved in as an owner of this business. Therefore, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I do have a requested condition on this application from Commissioner, on both of these applications from Commissioner Flanagan. The condition requested is provide information on how donations to C3RN will specifically impact Holyoke, as the letter does not provide such information. Are there any other comments or questions or requested conditions on this application, or these 2 applications? Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation for issuing conditional licenses to Fuego Farms Incorporated, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Title, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner McBride, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to Fuego Farms Incorporated, MCN 282-234 and MPN 281-716, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Thank you. The next license is Hemp Holistics LLC, MBN 281425, which is a micro business and as such is expedited based upon the license type. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Hemp Holistics LLC. The proposed location is 351 Bennett Road, located in Ashby, Mass. The license being sought is a micro business performing cultivation operations only. The additional information is contained within the executive summary for the commission's review. Therefore, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions being requested on this license, but let me pause if there are questions or requested conditions from any of the commissioners. Okay, well then can I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Hemp Holistics. Commissioner Dora, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Title, would you second such a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Hemp Holistics LLC, MBN 281425. Thank you very much. The next license applicant is Hennep Incorporated, MRN 281450. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Hennep Incorporated. The proposed location is 246 Commercial Street, located in Provincetown, Mass. The license being sought here is a retail license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for the commission's review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Are there questions? I believe let me just check my notes. Give me a second here. I believe Commissioner Title has, yes, she does have a requested condition here, and the condition is a just diversity plan goal to employ women in 20% of retail positions and/or management, to be clear and objectively reasonable, and fixed typo identifying people of all gender identities and sexual orientations as a target group to hire. Are there other requests for conditions or questions for Mr. Potvin? And could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title? Commissioner McBride, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second that?
Seconded.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Hennep Incorporated, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Thank you very much. The next two licenses are for High Minded LLC, MPN 281662, product manufacturer, and MRN 28318, retail. These are both expedited applications based upon their qualification as a distressed or disadvantaged business enterprise. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is High Minded LLC. They're doing business as, or propose to do business as, Farnsworth. The proposed location is 126 Main Street, located in Great Barrington, Mass. The two licenses being sought are product manufacturing and retail. There is additional information contained within the executive summary for the Commission's review and consideration. With that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of 2 provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. I do have one requested condition from Commissioner Flanagan, which is provide specific information on the training sessions that will be conducted, specifically who is in the intended audience, what is the subject matter of the training, is there an educational component to it besides personal experience, and how does this positively affect entry into the cannabis industry? Are there other questions for Mr. Potvin or other requested conditions on these 2 licenses? Okay, then may I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to this applicant, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner McBride, would you make the motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to High Minded LLC, MPN 281662, product manufacturer, MRN 282318, retail, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Okay, I got a little bit more. Kyle, can we go maybe another 2 or 3, and then let's take a short break?
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it in you, because I'm starting to wear down a little bit here.
I can go a little bit longer.
Okay, let's go for another 2 or 3 of them. The next 2 are Holistic Industries Incorporated, MCN 282056, which is Tier 3 indoor cultivation, and MPN 281630, product manufacturer. I would like you to do your review, Mr. Potvin, but we will take separate votes since there was a requested condition on only one of these 2 licenses. But if you could go ahead with your review, Mr. Potvin, on Holistic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Holistic Industries Incorporated. The proposed location is 96 Palmer Road, located in Monson, Mass. The 2 licenses being sought, as stated before, are a Tier 3 indoor cultivation license and a product manufacturing license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for the Commission's review and consideration. With that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of 2 provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. Let's, as I said, treat these separately since there's a condition being requested on the manufacturing license. So for first license, MCN 282056, I am not aware of any requested conditions, but let me pause before I ask for a motion. Are there any questions for Mr. Potvin or any requested conditions? Thank you. Then could I ask please, I'm sorry, did I miss something?
Oh, just sneezed.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you.
Then I'd like to ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation for Holistic Industries Incorporated, MCN 282056. Could I get such a motion, please? Let's see, where am I in my sequence here? From, can I get a motion, please, from Commissioner Title?
So moved.
Can I get a second from Commissioner McBride?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Doyle. Your vote.
Aye.
Bless you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break shortly, so we can all kind of like take care of ourselves a little bit. Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Holistic Industries Incorporated, MCN 282056, Tier 3 indoor cultivation. Just give me a second here. There is a request from Commissioner McBride on the product manufacturing license to impose a condition, and I'll read it and then ask if Commissioner McBride has any additional comments. But the condition requested by Commissioner McBride is to provide a list of products referenced in their product plan and indicate in writing what they mean by pharmaceutical grade marijuana oil, i.e. potency, and where they intend to make it available. So Commissioner McBride, did I get that right? And do you have any comments around that requested condition?
Yeah, just quickly, I wanted to clarify. So the applicant obviously provided a product plan, but they include information generally about categories of products they intend to produce, but the list of products that they reference in the product plan wasn't included. They have something at the end that says, in the following pages, you'll find the list of products, but it wasn't actually in there. So if they could provide it, if we don't have it, that would be great. The other piece, just to clarify on the pharmaceutical grade, I'm starting to see this phrase thrown around a lot. And with regard to oil, they say the resulting extract from our extraction process is a pharmaceutical grade marijuana oil that is immediately ready for end user consumption. I guess I'd like to just better understand what they mean and how they define pharmaceutical grade, because we generally think of that in the context of things like prescription medicines. And so I want to understand, are they planning on offering this only on the medical side? Is it adult use too? And just kind of understanding better what they mean by that and how they define what pharmaceutical grade is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before I ask for a motion? And could I have a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Holistic Industries Incorporated, MPN 281630, product manufacturer, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Can I have such a motion, please, Commissioner Doyle?
So moved.
Can I have a second, Commissioner Title?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Holistic Industries Incorporated, MPN 281630, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Okay, guys, I'm just going to speak for myself. I really need a break. This is hard work. So it is, according to my computer, 11:27. Can I suggest that we reconvene? I need a motion, but I'd like to reconvene at 11:40, so in 13 minutes. Can I have such a motion to recess?
So moved.
I'm sorry. Can you state your name when you're making the motion? I can't. I'm having a hard time.
That was Kay Doyle making the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Doyle. Can I have a second, please? Please state your name when you're making it, please.
Second. Second, this is Shalene Title.
Thank you. So let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
I think it was Commissioner Title seconding though.
Thank you. I'll get better at this. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman. Aye. So we are in recess until 11:40, so 12 minutes from now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. We're still waiting for Erica. There we go. Hi, Erica.
Hello.
Okay, and I'm not seeing Commissioner McBride. There we go. And Commissioner Flanagan, are you still online? Said you're good to go?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all humoring me by allowing me to take that break. It was necessary. Let's see if I can keep going here. Ms. Poffin, you doing okay?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. The next license on the agenda is Hudson Botanical Processing LLC, MPN 281588, product manufacturing. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Hudson Botanical Processing LLC. The proposed location is 9 Kane Industrial Drive, Unit 1, located in Hudson. The license being sought is a product manufacturing license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much. I believe that there is a condition requested by Commissioner Title on this. Let me read it. Review definition of disproportionately harmed people as defined in regulations and guidance and revise positive impact plan accordingly. The plan seems to be based upon a mistaken assumption that all of Worcester is an area of disproportionate impact. Are there any other comments or questions or requested conditions on this license application? Then I'd like to ask please for a motion to approve this application subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Flanagan, would you make the motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle, correctly? Did I get that correct?
You did?
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Hudson Botanical Processing LLC, MPN 281588, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Thank you very much. The next two are Humboldt Masters LLC, MCN 282102, Tier 4 Indoor Cultivation, and Humboldt Masters LLC, MPN 281467, Product Manufacturer. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Humboldt Masters LLC. The proposed location is 215 Shrewsbury Street, located in West Boylston, Mass. The two licenses being sought are a Tier 4 Indoor Cultivation license and a product manufacturing license. Again, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of two provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. Before I ask for additional questions or requests for conditions, there are two conditions that are being requested by Commissioner Flanagan. First, provide a revised positive impact plan and specifically include which organizations they will be donating to. And second, remove the section where it talks about attaining social justice leader status. This is not an appropriate action plan for not an appropriate action for the positive impact plan. Are there any other comments or questions or requested conditions on these two licenses? Thank you. Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation for these two licenses subject to the conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner McBride, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Title, would you second the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride. Did we lose you? Commissioner McBride?
I'm sorry, my audio went out for a second. Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman? Aye. Thank you. Let the record show that the commission approves the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to Humboldt Masters LLC, MCN 282102 and MCN 281467, subject to the conditions requested by Commissioner Flanagan. Thank you very much. Next up is there are two licenses you're going to have to change after I get to the first one here, please, Erica. But the first is Liberty Compassion Incorporated, MCN 282178. And then if we go to the next slide, please. Liberty Compassion Incorporated, MPN 281752, product manufacturer, Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Liberty Compassion Incorporated. The proposed location is 179 Brook Street, located in Clinton, Mass. The two licenses being sought are a Tier 2 indoor cultivation license and a product manufacturing license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. And with that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of two provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. I do have one condition requested by Commissioner Title, which is revised diversity plan to include measurable goals. Are there any other comments or questions or requested conditions on these two licenses? Great, thank you. Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue provisional licenses to Liberty Compassion, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Flanagan, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation for the following two licenses. Please go back to the previous slide, Erica. Thank you. Liberty Compassion Incorporated, MCN 282178. And next slide. Liberty Compassion Incorporated, MPN 281752, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Thank you very much. Okay. There are now four applications for Mass Medicum Corporation, MCN 281929 cultivation, Tier 7 indoor, MPN 281687 product manufacturer, MRN 282715 retail, MRN 283004 retail. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, the applicant here is Mass Medicum Corporation. The first two applications, which are for a Tier 7 indoor cultivation license and a product manufacturing license, their proposed location is 1 Mayor Road, located in Holbrook, Mass. The third application before you for consideration is a retail application with a proposed location of 85 University Drive, located in Amherst, Mass. And then the fourth application, or alternatively, the second retail application for your consideration for this applicant, is located, the proposed location would be 300 Revolutionary Drive, located in Taunton, Mass. These four applications are separated amongst three executive summaries that are before you for your review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of 4 provisional licenses subject to those conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I appreciate that. We're going to have to do these in 2 separate votes, given that there's conditions that only apply to some. So we'll leave out product manufacturing for the time being and just look at AA, CC, and D. And for those 3, Commissioner Title has a requested condition, which I will read. The condition is to revise diversity plan goal to hire 5% women to be objectively reasonable. Again, we'll vote on AA, B, and choose AA, CC, and D, and then come back and add an additional condition requested for B. So can I have a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation for, I'll be very explicit here, Mass Medicom Corp. MCN 281929, Mass Medicom Corp. MRN 282715, Mass Medicum Corp. MRN 283004, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Can I have such a motion, please? Commissioner Doyle?
So moved.
Commissioner McBride, would you second that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue the following licenses to Mass Medicum Corp. MCN 281929, MRN 282715, MRN 283004, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Mass Medicum Corp. MPN 281687. Commissioner's Title's request for a motion is for the same motion that, or the same condition she had on the previous slide, is extended to this application. But in addition to that, let me just get my notes here. Sorry. The additional request on this specific license for Mass Medicom is for a condition requested by Commissioner McBride, and the condition is she wants inspectors to see packaging for powdered drink mix, fruit in parentheses, fruit punch, grape, lemon, lime, orange, before it goes on market. Commissioner McBride, do you have any comments other than I'll ask for a vote, including your condition?
No.
Okay, thank you. So then I would like to ask for a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Mass Medicum Corp. MPN 281687, product manufacturing, subject to the conditions requested by Commissioners Title and McBride. Commissioner Title, could I have that motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Mass Medicum Corp. MPN 281687, subject to the conditions requested by Commissioners Title and McBride. Thank you. Next up is Royalty Group LLC application for retail, MRN 282088. And I believe this is an expedited license based upon qualification as a disadvantaged business enterprise. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Royalty Group LLC. They're proposing to do business under the name of TreeStar. The proposed location is 425 Middlesex Road, located in Tinsboro, Mass. The license being sought here is a retail license. Again, there is information contained within the executive summary for the commission's review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions requested on this license, but are there comments, questions, or conditions requested on this license? Okay, thank you. Then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Royalty Group Incorporated. Commissioner McBride, would you make that motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner McBride made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman. Aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously voted to support the accept the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Royalty Group LLC, MRN 282088. Thank you very much. Next up is Sunmass 2 LLC, 2 licenses, MRN 281816 retail and MCN 281732 tier 8 indoor cultivation. Mr. Potvin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of clarification here. Under 8FF, the appropriate name of this entity is Suns Mass 2 with the at the end of Suns. And under 8GG is actually a separate entity, which is, they're affiliated, but it's a different name of just Sons Mass LLC. So there are two separate entities.
You're suggesting we do these separately?
That I leave that up to you, but I just wanted to make a point of clarification that in fact there's two separate entities.
Let's do them separately. So we'll start with FF. Thank you very much for that clarification, Mr. Potvin. Let's start with Sunmass 2 LLC, MRN 281816 Retail. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, the applicant here is Sunmass 2 LLC. The proposed location is 56 Millbrook Street, located in Worcester, Mass. This applicant is seeking a retail license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. With that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. So I have a condition requested by Commissioner Title, which is revised diversity plan goal to hire 5% women to be objectively reasonable. I am not aware of any other requests for conditions, but are there any questions or comments or additional conditions requested on this license? Okay, thank you. Then could I ask for a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation for Sunmass 2 LLC, MRN 281816, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Title, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner McBride, would you second?
I think her screen is frozen. Do you want me to second?
Commissioner Doyle, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. So let the record show that Commissioner Title made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride, can you hear us? And
Aye. Yeah, I'm having audio issues. Sorry. I'll let you know if it becomes
fine.
trouble.
But could I have your vote, please, on this motion?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Sunmass 2 LLC, MRN 281816, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner Title. Thank you. Let's move on to the next, which is GG Sunmass 2 LLC, MCN 281732, which is Tier 8 indoor cultivation. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the applicant here is Sons Mass Incorporated. The proposed location is 198 Mill Village Road, located in Deerfield. The license being sought is a Tier 8 indoor cultivation license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. With that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. Again, the condition that is requested on this license is from Commissioner Title, revised diversity plan goal to hire 5% women to be objectively reasonable. Before I ask for a motion, are there any other comments or questions or requests for additional conditions? Okay, thank you. Then could I please ask for a motion to approve the staff recommendation subject to Commissioner Title's requested condition? Commissioner Flanagan, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner McBride, could you second that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Title, or excuse me, Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Sunmass 2 LLC, MCN 281732, subject to the additional condition requested by Commissioner Title. Thank you. Next up is Supercritical Mass Laboratories Incorporated, MPN 281321, product manufacturer. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Supercritical Mass Laboratories Incorporated. The proposed location is 251 Brook Street, located in Worcester, Mass. The license being sought here is a product manufacturing license. Again, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration of this applicant. With that said, Commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I have a requested condition from Commissioner McBride on this application, and the condition requested is Product description states an offer of a wide range of pharmaceutical grade, safe, consistent, and effective marijuana distilled oils and infused products for the marijuana patients and recreational consumers of Massachusetts. Provide in writing what is meant by pharmaceutical grade, and if it is associated with potency, what are the expected potency in products considered pharmaceutical grade? Commissioner McBride, do you have any additional comments other than the request for that condition?
No.
And thank you. My notes also say that Commissioner Doyle would like to make a comment on this. Commissioner Doyle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The comment is simply that the name of the applicant refers to supercritical mass laboratories. I'm a little concerned that name is confusing or misleading when we have another license type that actually are independent testing laboratories. I'm not proposing a condition related to that concern, but I just want to flag it for the applicant as an issue to consider.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Doyle. Are there any other comments or questions or requests for additional conditions on this application? Then could I ask for a motion, please, to approve the staff recommendation of issuing a professional license to supercritical mass laboratories, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Could I have that motion, please, Commissioner Flanagan?
So moved.
Commissioner Tuttle, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Tuttle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Tuttle.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the Commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Supercritical Mass Laboratories Incorporated, MPN 281321, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Thank you. Next up are two licenses for the Botanists Incorporated, both retail, MRN 282160, MRN 282186 retail. As everybody will recall, this was on our agenda in, I believe, our February meeting and was tabled and is now back on the agenda. Mr. Potvin, would you walk through this, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Botanist has submitted two applications for two retail locations. The first one, the proposed location is 65 Pullman Street, located in Worcester, Mass. Again, this is a retail application that is sought, retail license that is sought. The second retail license that is sought is the proposed location is 235 Hartford Turnpike, located in Shrewsbury, Mass. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for the Commission's review and consideration. With that, the Commission staff do recommend the issuance of two provisional licenses subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you. I am not aware of any additional requests for conditions on this license, but does anybody have comments, questions before we ask for a motion? No?
I do.
Yeah, Commissioner Tuttle, go ahead, please.
Would this be the appropriate time to ask questions of Paul regarding the memo?
Absolutely. So, Mr. Pear, are you there?
Mr. Chair, I am. Can you hear me?
We can, at least I can. And Commissioner Tuttle, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I have two questions for Mr. Payer and then some comments. But first, I want to acknowledge the work that went into the changes that were made between February and now. I agree with the assessment in the memo, and I appreciate that the applicant was responsive and all of the collaboration and cooperation that must have taken. And I want to acknowledge that we seem to be making progress. My first question for Mr. Payer is, from your perspective, is this a case of first impression?
Commissioner, certainly the questions that were raised in the course of this investigation, and particularly taking into account the November regulations, which clarified the definition of ownership and control. Certainly, this is a unique in that sense, both in the duration of the investigation as we have answered these questions about ownership and control.
Thank you. My second question for you, Mr. Payer, I am interested in the resources that the commission used during this investigation, particularly with the commission considering the application as it stood in February 1st, and then the applicant changing the contracts and the commission considering the application again as it stands today. Would you be comfortable describing the time that your team has put in over the months that this has been ongoing? And would you say it's been significant?
Commissioner, I would agree. It's been a significant dedication of resources across our licensing and investigations team under the direction of our Chief of Investigations and Enforcement. This matter, does trace back to all the way back to the spring of 2019, and really beginning in great substance with document production in May and June of 2019. Investigation staff were assigned and conducted an investigative conference in September, which questions were posed to representatives from the applicant. And as a result of that investigative conference, again in November of 2019, as I had alluded to earlier, evaluating those investigative findings against the regulatory clarifications on control and what that meant going forward, and then certainly in January of this year, as the investigation status memo submitted for the February meeting provides in greater detail, addressing those questions as they relate to the new regulations, having an understanding of what those agreements effect would be under the new regulations. Each of those stages in this investigation really did require some dedicated staff time, which is sometimes difficult to come across, and certainly the resources of the team at particular junctures over the course of this investigation have been significant.
Thank you, Mr. Payer. Commissioner Title, do you have other questions, or you said you wanted to make a comment?
Those are all my questions. I do have further comments, and thank you for your responses, Mr. Payer. It's clear that we're making progress here. However, I still have unaddressed concerns about the application as it was submitted in February, particularly whether controlling relationships were whether controlling relationships were disclosed as such, especially given, as Mr. Payer mentioned, that we changed our regulations, and I think any applicant could have accessed our latest round of regulations with very specific definitions and accompanying discussions regarding control. I'm also interested in how our decisions incentivize or disincentivize disclosure of relationships. Furthermore, the resources aspect of this continues to be very important to me. I think the time of Yao and Paul's team is particularly crucial. They have done everything that we've asked them to on this. They've done a phenomenal job, in my opinion. This is also the team that's being asked to work on so many other things, responding to the public health emergency, which is ever changing, investigating worker complaints, keeping on going on inspections. And they're doing wonderfully at that, but their time is a finite resource. I said this back in February, but I think it's much more clear and urgent and concrete now. And we need to be more careful than ever with the state's resources in general and that team's time in particular. I want to be cognizant of what might take that team off of one thing and put them onto another thing like an investigation like this. And so I'm not comfortable making a decision today that might encourage other companies to submit an application like the one we saw in February, use significant resources of the commissions, and then be able to make changes and move forward as though nothing had happened. And so given the significant nature of controlling relationships and the extraordinary amount of resources that it takes to investigate them, I think this needs to be addressed further.
Before I ask for a specific motion, Commissioner Title, are there other comments or questions for Mr. Payer from other commissioners?
I have a question.
Sorry, is that Commissioner McBride?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I'm putting you on the spot right now, and I don't know if you can even just ballpark this, but as between our pre-November 1 regulations and our post-November 1 regulations, how many ongoing sort of investigations around control do we currently have? So pre-November 1 and then post-November 1.
Commissioner, I probably couldn't give you a really accurate enough answer to provide at this point. We certainly can compile that information. One thing I would note is that over the course of this investigation, and very crucial, I believe, to also Commissioner Title's question, over the course of this investigation, the Chief of Investigations and Enforcement has supported and organized a financial investigations team as one of the units within our investigations team overall. And of course, the Commission is now able to enjoy the services of a financial services vendor with Citrum & Cooperman. And I mention that because it certainly has been the case that we have been able to dedicate more resources and dedicate those resources more efficiently. And post November 1st in particular, having that clarification that notice to applicants has been critical in continuing that work. So it's certainly, that subject certainly does remain a focal point for the team.
Commissioner McBride, other questions?
No.
Are there other questions from Commissioner Doyle or Commissioner Flanagan?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Commissioner Doyle?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Then Commissioner Tyler, do you have a motion that you would like to make?
Can I first ask Mr. Payer if he and his team would be willing to come back with a recommendation for how to address these concerns?
Commissioner, absolutely. As was articulated in the memorandum, the current status after review of the amended agreements has, in the opinion of the Chief of Investigations and Enforcement, has removed concerns of control. But just to seek some clarification, the further recommendation sought from staff would be to address the initial disclosure or disclosures as of prior to the unwinding of those agreements. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
So absolutely, Commissioner, and that would be, of course, done in consultation with the Chief Investigation Enforcement and Executive Director on proper recommendation.
Thank you. Commissioner Title?
I'd like to make a motion to request the staff to come back to the commission with a recommendation as to how to proceed on these licenses.
So you're, I guess I did not follow. I thought you were suggesting, or you were going to suggest a vote on the licenses and a vote on actions on the original submission, but you're requesting that we not vote on the license in your motion. I just want to make sure I understand your motion.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm requesting that we not vote today and that we consider a recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is there any comment on that before I ask for a second of that motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I need clarification.
Sure. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner Doyle.
Thank you. And to you, Commissioner Title, I'm trying to make sure I understand what you're proposing. So we have the licenses before us today after the applicant has worked to resolve the issues with our compliance team. But what you're saying is that the issue of whether or not their disclosure of the potential controlling issues is something that should be additionally considered when considering whether or not to grant their license. Am I getting that correct?
That's correct. So the initial concerns about the disclosure are at this point unaddressed. So I would like them to be addressed with the recommendation before we vote on the licenses.
Other questions or clarifications before I ask for a second of Commissioner Title's motion? Okay. Given the nature of this, I will ask for, I'm not going to assign the responsibility second. Can I ask for a second to the motion and state your name when you're doing it, please?
Second, Commissioner Britta McBride.
Thank you. So let the record show the commission that the motion was made by Commissioner Title, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
No.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, no. Let the record show that the commission approved the motion by a vote of 3 in favor. Commissioners Doyle, McBride, and Title, with Commissioners Flanagan and Hoffman voting no. Thank you. Mr. Payer, I will work with the executive director and with Chief of Enforcement Investigations to have the response that Commissioner Title requested back to the commission as soon as we can, and we'll get it on the agenda of a subsequent meeting.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
We'll speak to the executive director afterwards, and we'll make that happen. Okay. I think we're moving on. So we have 5 more to do, starting with the Old Bank LLC, MRN 282467 Retail. And Mr. Potvin, please go ahead. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, the applicant is the Old Bank LLC. They propose to do business as the Piping Plover. The proposed location is 10 Main Street, located in Wellfleet, Mass. Again, the license being sought here is a retail license. There's additional information for the commission's review and consideration within the executive summary. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions, additional conditions requested by commissioners on this license application. Are there any questions or comments or additional conditions requested?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Flanagan.
I would just like to applaud the applicant for being creative in handling. I'd like to applaud the applicant for being creative in handling the issue of the closest disproportionately impacted area being 50 miles from their location, and highlight this is why we need to revisit the disproportionately impacted plan and hopefully add additional cities and towns to the list.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Flanagan. Are there any other questions, comments, or requests for additional conditions? Okay, thank you. Then can I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to the Old Bank LLC? Commissioner McBride, would you make such a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Doyle, would you second?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show that the motion was made by Commissioner McBride, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to the Old Bank LLC, MRN 282467. Thank you very much. Next up is Tigertown LLC, MRN 282818 Retail. This is an expedited application based upon qualifying as a disadvantaged business enterprise. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Tigertown LLC. The proposed location is 56 Jackson Street, located at Holyoke. The license being sought here is a retail license. There's additional information contained within the executive summary for the commission's review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any requests for additional conditions on this license. Questions or comments or requests for conditions from any commissioner? Great. Then could I please have a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Tigertown LLC? Commissioner Doyle, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Title, would you second the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Tigertown LLC, MRN 282818. Thank you. Next up is Tower 3 LLC, MRN 282, MCN 281652, which is Tier 2 indoor cultivation. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Tower 3 LLC. The proposed location is 30 Sherwood Drive, located in Taunton, Mass. The license being sought is a Tier 2 indoor cultivation license. Again, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for the commission's review and consideration. With that, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions being requested on this license. Are there any questions or comments or additional conditions requested by any commissioner?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Flanagan.
I'd just like to have the applicant be aware of the advertising restrictions. As they said in their impact plan, they're going to participate in golf tournaments and possible 5Ks.
Is that a condition or just a request of the applicant, Commissioner?
Just a request, a notification for the applicant.
Thank you. Anything else? Then could I please ask for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to we're on Tower 3 LLC, MCN 281652. Commissioner Flanagan, would you make such a motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner McBride, would you second the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote, please.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Tower 3 LLC, MCN 281652. Thank you. Next up is Tree Works of Massachusetts LLC, MPN 281343. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Tree Works of Massachusetts LLC. The proposed location is 3 West Street, located in Hatfield, Mass. The license being sought here is a product manufacturing license. Again, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for your review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you very much. I do have a condition requested by Commissioner McBride. I'll read it. Currently, security plan states, quote, Tree Works will also implement policies and procedures for situations following inadvertent diversion or loss of marijuana products, end quote. Prior to licensure, applicant needs to provide written policies and procedures for inadvertent diversion or loss of marijuana product, parentheses, would be good if they link them to previous or to preventive measures, unquote, close parentheses. Are there any other conditions requested or comments or questions besides Commissioner McBride's suggested or requested condition?
I have one more comment.
Commissioner McBride, please go ahead.
In their list of products, they list dark chocolate with mint and Oreos. I just want to call out for the applicant that Oreos is a trademarked name, and they should think about how they're going to be packaging that, labeling it, branding it, etc.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions or requests for additional conditions? Okay, then could I please ask for a motion to approve the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Tree Works of Massachusetts LLC, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, could you make that motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Title, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Tree Works of Massachusetts LLC, MPN 281343, subject to the condition requested by Commissioner McBride. Next is Wellman Farm Incorporated, MPN 281317, product manufacturer. This is an expedited applicant based upon status as a disadvantaged business enterprise. Mr. Potvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant here is Wellman Farm Incorporated. The proposed location is 26 Wellman Street, located in Lowell, Mass. The license being sought here is a product manufacturing license. Again, there's additional information contained within the executive summary for the commission's review and consideration. With that said, commission staff do recommend the issuance of a provisional license subject to the conditions before you.
Thank you, Mr. Potvin. I am not aware of any conditions requested by Commissioner on this license application. Are there questions or comments or conditions that anybody would like to request? Fine, then could I ask please for a motion to approve the staff recommendation? Commissioner Doyle, would you make that motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Flanagan, would you second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. Let the record show Commissioner Doyle made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Wellman Farm Incorporated.
Chairman,
Yes, I'm
I
sorry.
voted.
I thought you did, but if I missed you, I truly apologize. Let me go this again. Commissioner, I'll do it again just for clarity. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show the commission unanimously approved the staff recommendation to issue a provisional license to Wellman Farm Incorporated, MPN 281317. Is that it, Mr. Potvin?
For today, yes, sir.
Pardon?
For today, yes.
So before we move on, a couple things. First, I really want to thank Mr. Potvin, Mr. Payer, our entire investigative and licensing staff. There's just a prodigious amount of work that goes into everything that we just talked about and accomplished, and my deep gratitude to you. I think we are keeping this industry going as much as we can under these circumstances, and I'm really grateful for the work and support of the entire staff, and particularly the licensing and enforcement team. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would like to take a short break. So it is now 12:27. I'd like to break until 12:40. And so can I have a motion, please, and state your name when you're making the motion? Can I have a motion, please, to recess?
Kay Doyle, so moved.
Can I have a second, please? Can I have a second to that motion, please?
Britta McBride, second.
Thank you. So let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion to recess, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan,
Aye.
Commissioner McBride,
Aye.
Commissioner Title,
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously voted to take a recess until 12:40 p.m. So, or excuse me, yeah, 12:40 p.m. So 12 minutes we'll be back in session, but we are in recess right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Commissioner Doyle, are you there? Hi, Erica. I think we're just waiting on Commissioner Doyle.
I'm here. You can't see me?
Now I can.
Oh, okay, that's weird because my video says it's on.
Yeah, no, it is now, but it wasn't a few seconds ago. But anyway, welcome back.
Thank you.
We are back in session at 12:41. Before I move on to the next agenda items, Commissioner Doyle, is there anything that you'd like to bring to the commission?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have a few remaining agenda items. Let's move on. And they both, I think, are going to be led by Commissioner Doyle. First is delegation of authority for applications of energy extensions. Commissioner Doyle, would you like to lead the conversation on this, please?
Sure. So as you may recall, we put in a provision in the last 2019 amendments to allow anyone who was not thinking they were going to be ready in time for the energy compliance date to request not a waiver, but an extension of time. So a waiver is a deviation from the regulations. This is something that is specifically authorized in the regulations as a opportunity for people to get more time to do their energy compliance, but at the same time provide us with some data so that we have some data on which to base future decisions. When we started getting these requests for extensions in, we realized that we needed to make clear that the executive director should have the power to act on these extensions. And it's not completely clear under his waiver authority because this isn't exactly a waiver. And so what I would ask the commission to do is authorize the delegation of the decision to grant these energy extensions pursuant to 105. I'm going to forget the site, so I'm just going to pass. I put my notes aside and I don't know where they are. So under our regulations, I'm going to ask the commission to delegate the decision on the energy extensions to our executive director, Sean Collins, to act on as they come in as he sees appropriate.
Thank you, Commissioner Doyle. Before I ask you to formally make that motion, are there any questions or comments for Commissioner Doyle? Okay, then Commissioner Doyle, would you formally make that motion, please?
Sure. I move that the commission delegate the decision to act upon applications for energy extensions to our executive director, Sean Collins.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please? And please state your name when you're making the second.
Second, Jen Flanagan.
Thank you. You okay, Jen?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me, Commissioner Flanagan, are you okay?
I have asthma.
I'm sorry. Be careful. Be safe. Commissioner, I let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Flanagan. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show the commission unanimously approved the motion. Thank you very much. I believe the next topic is also yours, Commissioner Doyle. If you would lead us in this conversation, please.
Absolutely. As you know, as part of our compiled energy and environment guidance, one of the original portions of it is a best management practices for water usage. And in that best management practices for water usage, there is a reference to water usage having been demonstrated by a prior study to be 6 gallons per plant per day. Advocates came to us and said that was based on conditions that are different than what we see here in Massachusetts. And they did a wonderful job tracking down information to support that assertion and have persuaded not only myself, but the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture Resources that it would be appropriate to remove that particular reference. So that is what I am asking the commission for approval to do today. And I just want to commend the advocates who came to us for their research and work in demonstrating through solid information that what they were asking for was appropriate.
Thank you, Commissioner Doyle. Any questions for Commissioner Doyle on this? Thank you. Do you believe we need a formal motion and a vote, Commissioner Doyle? Or would you like one?
Better safe than sorry.
Okay, let's do it. Commissioner Doyle, would you make that motion, please, formally?
Yes, I move to delete the reference to 6 gallons per day per plant and the language surrounding it in the best management practices for water usage as deemed appropriate by myself and the staff.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please, of that motion? Again, state your name when you do so.
Second, Britta McBride.
Thank you, Commissioner McBride. Let the record show that Commissioner Doyle made the motion, seconded by Commissioner McBride. Commissioner Doyle, your vote?
Aye. Sorry.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBride?
Aye.
Commissioner Title?
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show that the commission unanimously approved the motion. Thank you very much, Commissioner Doyle, for your leadership, not just on talking us through this today, but your leadership on the energy efficiency issues for the entirety of the commission's life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before we close, Commissioner McBride, is there an issue that you or topic you would like to raise?
Yeah, I wanted to put before the commission a proposal to draft a letter to our congressional delegation advocating for relief or advocating for inclusion in relief packages, particularly as it pertains to small businesses that have been affected by the pandemic, and try to figure out if there is an appropriate vehicle at the federal level that might provide some relief for businesses in Massachusetts. I haven't drafted the letter yet. I would propose to do so and work with staff in doing so, and then work with staff, count on staff to circulate any letter for consideration by the commission.
Let me ask for comments. I have one comment I'd like to, or one clarification I'd like to ask for, but any questions or comments for Commissioner McBride? Commissioner Title, please go ahead.
I think that's a wonderful idea and I support it, and I'd like to offer any assistance I could provide with the drafting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Title. Any other comments? So Commissioner McBride, first of all, I completely agree with Commissioner Title. I think this is a wonderful idea and I appreciate your leadership on this. I think it's a really important matter that hopefully we can contribute to addressing. Are you suggesting that you will come back to the commission with a letter, or are you asking that we approve the letter, obviously, you know, with the facility for individual commissioners without violating the open meeting law, having input into the letter, but approve the letter today without requiring it to come back to the commission for future vote?
Well, I guess I'm asking for the commission to approve the idea, but obviously I realize that for individuals, you know, the devil will be in the details, and whether the commission can be supportive, all of us can be supportive of it. So I guess what I would propose is that we move ahead with drafting something with everyone having the idea planted in their head that this will be forthcoming. And then I would lean on staff to circulate it and to receive comments and address those comments appropriately. My hope is obviously that we can find some unanimity on the general idea of getting assistance, but also understanding that people need to see what's drafted, and it's a lot to ask people to sign on to something that they have not yet seen right now. But I would make a commitment to do my best to draft it in a way that will hopefully reflect what I respect as our multitude of viewpoints, but I think a common idea of wanting to be helpful and trying to be proactive, as much as we can be in helping the businesses that are affected here.
Yeah, so thank you. My concern is that I think this is a very important and very timely issue. And I would hope we could get it done, and I have complete confidence in the process you just described, Commissioner McBride. I'm hoping we can get it done without having to bring it back to the commission at our next meeting, which is not until early May. So I would like, if it's okay with you, to ask you to make a motion that would essentially do the process that you just articulated, but have the support of the commission, to get the letter delivered without having to bring it back to the commission. Is that something you're comfortable with?
Sure.
Any other comments or questions before I ask for that specific motion? Okay, thank you. Then Commissioner McBride, would you make a formal motion, please?
I move that the commission draft a letter to the congressional delegation advocating for federal assistance for our licensees.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask somebody for a second, and please state your name?
Second, this is Shalene.
Thank you. So let the record show that the motion was made by Commissioner McBride, seconded by Commissioner Title. I won't say Shalene in this format, but Commissioner Title. Commissioner Doyle, your vote, please.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman, aye. Let the record show the commission unanimously approved the motion. And Commissioner McBride, thank you very much for bringing this to us and for your leadership on this. Thank you. I think it's very important. The next meeting for the Cannabis Control Commission is scheduled for May 7th at 10 a.m. While it says here that we're going to meet at 2 Washington Square in Worcester, clearly that is to be determined, and we will continue to operate as we have for the entirety of this crisis in the best interests of the health and safety of the public and our staff. So that will remain to be determined, and obviously we'll communicate to the public whether we will meet in person or virtually based upon the circumstances that exist on May 7th. There being no further business before the commission, I would like to ask, please, for a motion to adjourn. Can you make a motion, please, and state your name?
So moved. Jen Flanagan.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second, Kay Doyle.
Let the record show that Commissioner Flanagan made the motion to adjourn, seconded by Commissioner Doyle. Commissioner Doyle, your vote, please.
Aye.
Commissioner Flanagan.
Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
Commissioner Title.
Aye.
Commissioner Hoffman. Aye. We are adjourned as of 12:50 p.m. on April 9th, 2020. Before everybody just hangs up, first of all, thank you to the staff for helping us with this meeting. Thank you to my fellow commissioners. I feel like we got a lot done here in challenging circumstances, so I really appreciate that. And to everybody on the call, please be careful and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.